to a million. We're live on Twitter. We're doing this on every podcast network that there possibly is. I think John has us hooked up to, so that's pretty good. Last week had to take a hiatus. John's away, and we're just working through some kinks, so hopefully we get this going back up and running correctly. John, how's everything been going with you?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, man. We don't look now, but we're almost like halfway through NFL already. Now that we got 18 weeks, I guess we got a couple more weeks here before we're halfway. But it seems like the NFL season is flying by already. But we have a fun little slate here. Have a few teams over 30 implied points, which is pretty nice. So I'm sure we'll talk about that and get into it. But yeah, excited to break these games down with you.
Yeah, first starting off, me too. I'm ready to get in it. The season has been flying. That is a really good point. It's crazy. I know we have an extra game this year, but it's been just absolutely nuts in terms of – it's kind of like this every year in the NFL, right?
Yeah.
Carolina at the New York Giants, 2.5. 2.5 is the spread. Carolina's the favorite. The totals went from 44 to 43. What are your thoughts on this game? I'm sure you're going to like some Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah, I think he's fine. You know, we've seen Carolina have no issues with feeding him the ball pretty much in that CMC role now. Like, I know that first week the volume wasn't there, but now, what is it, the last two games now, he's seen like all the backfield touches. So I think he's fine. But overall, you know, it's kind of a lower total game. Like, this isn't my favorite spot. You know, New York's defense is solid. Like I said, I don't mind him, but he's not going to be like a core target for me. Other than that, DJ Moore is always really solid, I think, regardless of matchup. Robbie Anderson, total dust ball. I got some hate for putting up a tweet on him last Sunday. A few people were mad about my tweet about Robbie Anderson, but I mean, people can play Robbie Anderson. That's fine. I'm done burning money on that dude. And then on the Giants side, I think what's his name? Is it Devontae Booker? I think he's solid in that lower mid tier range. You know, I don't hate that as a value play this week at running back. And Sterling Shepard is back now too, so he'd probably be the pass catching target that I'd look at through the wide receivers there on the Giants side. But like I said, overall, definitely other games on this slate that I like a little bit more than this one. But what about you?
Yeah, I like the Shep call, 8 to 10 targets in the slot, pretty much every game he's played. Don't mind going there. Interesting about Robbie Anderson. Last week, I think my highest owned player was Thielen, so it was going well there. And then one of my main run backs was Anderson. That's why, like, I feel like we've seen it last week in the Millie, like when scores kind of are low on a slate. I think the top 10 were non-correlated, so forcing correlation, even in large field stuff, like, it's pretty much slate dependent. I know that's kind of the majority of people are just running it back every time, but it's not always a necessity. Yeah, Chuba Hubbard, I think he's going to be pretty chalky. Some of them I'd look to in cash games. Carolina defense wouldn't mind correlating him there with how bad this Giants team has been. On the other side, like the Giants defense, Arizona Cardinals D was my highest owned D last week with Hunt Chalk. I didn't play it. I actually ended up fading Hunt. So just for the leverage, like I like situations like that. I don't know if I'd do that here. Just depends on. The Giants D is different than the Cardinals D, right? Like, I'd much rather play the Cardinals D than the Giants D versus Chalk running back. That's pretty much it in terms of like where I'm looking. Robbie Anderson, I think, might get back this week. We've been trying to grease that squeaky wheel for weeks now. He really dropped a ball that would have been like a 70-yard TD. So I don't mind going back to Robbie. I haven't been too pot committed. So I don't mind going there. Any final thoughts on this game? 43 total. I feel like we spent a lot of time on it.
No final thoughts. I was just going to say, of course, Robbie dropped the ball. That's all he does. You know, on Sunday, every time they showed him on Red Zone, it was like, oh, Robbie Anderson across the middle, drop. You know, Robbie Anderson open deep, drop. Like that's all he's been doing this year. So, like I said, I personally can't do it.
Got paid. It's over. He got
Well,
paid.
I mean, I'm on tilt because he's in like one of my best like high stakes season long. I know you hate season long,
Oh my
but
God.
he's on like one of my best teams, and I like can't bench him for whatever reason, and I'm stuck with like 4 points every week. It's egregious, but yeah, we can move on.
All right, Kansas City -4.5 at Tennessee. Totals 56.5. Opened at 56.5. Where is it now? Total now 57.5. Wow, people are going to be stacking the shit out of this game.
Yep.
What are your thoughts here with the Kansas City Tennessee game?
Yeah, I think you hit on it. People are going to stack it every which way, and I'm one of those guys that are going to be doing that because I love the KC side here. Tennessee defense, we've seen them give up a ton of points this season, even dating back to last season, and their defense hasn't really improved. And Kansas City, I still think, is one of the best high-powered offenses in the NFL. We saw last week they scored a bunch against Washington. But I think this week, I think we could see it be a little bit more concentrated on Kelsey and Tyreek Hill. Like I know Tyreek got there last week, Kelsey not so much. I mean, he was fine, but as like the highest owned tight end or whatever, you probably want a little bit more. Maybe one of those touchdowns go to him or whatever. But I just think this is a very high scoring game, just like the line would indicate. I like the KC side. I bet KC -4.5 last Sunday, I think. Moved to 5.5, and then now I think it's actually back down to 4.5. So interesting line movement there. It seems like some people think Tennessee could keep this one close, and if they do, it's got to be through the big dog, right? Through Derrick Henry. It just doesn't matter what the matchup is. The dude is just an absolute baller, and we know, you mentioned it before on this show, like KC, they will give up the run. They don't care about stopping the run because they just know they're going to put up points, and they'd rather have people run the ball than pass against them. And I mean, if you do that with Derrick Henry, like he's going to have a big day. So I think you can stack Henry, run it back with the KC passing attack. But obviously, then you get into the salary conversation because all of those guys are going to be some of the most expensive on the slate. So if you're doing that, you just got to make sure to not just mix in the chalk value with that too, because then you're just running like a super dupe lineup.
Yeah, I think a way you can kind of get different is maybe play the Tannehill side and even incorporate Henry in that Tannehill stack. JT Hayes brought this up on the Mayo show yesterday. I think that's super sharp, and this total kind of differentiated, run it back with a Tyreek or Kelsey. In terms of the Chiefs, like in GPPs, much more on the side of Tyreek than Kelsey, just because of the ceiling that Tyreek offers relative to Kelsey each and every week. Kyle makes that point a ton, like just play Tyreek anytime in that situation for tournaments at least. Like how many games? Kelsey's had one game of like 30 this year. Tyreek's had like 3 or 4. Like it's just tough not to, for a GBP option. Like Tyreek obviously has more variance. Don't mind Mahomes stacks. KC hasn't looked great, but Mahomes will be fine. Darrell Williams is another guy who I think is going to show up pretty chalky or cash game viable for a lot of people. He looked good last week. I like Darrell Williams. I think he offers more for this offense relative to CEH. CEH is just a complete dust ball. AJ Brown, Julio, like the total is what it is. I really don't like playing chalk AJ Brown or chalk Julio, but this is a really good matchup, really good game script. Yeah, I'd have a tough time not playing one of those guys when not getting to those guys with the 56.5 total. So I'll definitely be playing them. That's pretty much it. Any final thoughts here?
Yeah, I just think the biggest thing, like the main takeaway here is like, obviously everybody's going to play this game. It's going to be one of the most owned on both sides. So just be aware that you're not just playing chalk in the rest of your lineup. I think that's just the main point to hit on, because even in that scenario, like if the game shoots out, like you're going to be splitting, you're not going to differentiate yourself to get up top. So that's the only thing that I'll add is like, if you are going to play the chalk stacks on either side, then definitely try to find a way to get unique, whether it's with somebody else in this game. And I won't even say Hardman, because Hardman was chalk last week, and I expect him to be popular again. So I think you need to get a little bit more creative with the rest of your lineup if you're focusing on this game.
Yeah, 3 uniques in all your GPP lineups under 10%. I think that's definitely something that should be prioritized if you're stacking up this game. New York Jets at the New England Patriots, 6.5 favorites are the Pats, 42 is the total. Pats defense, I think the first game they played in New York, I think they were like 3,900. I'm not positive, but they definitely hit a ceiling outcome. Now they're 3,400. That's the main takeaway for me in this game. That's what's sticking out. Jacoby Myers is another player I think I would have interest in. Any thoughts here for you in this 42 total Jets versus Patriots game here?
Not really. I mean, they're tied with the Carolina game as the lowest over-under on the slate. And I actually, like, we said there's at least some plays in that Carolina-New York Giants game. Like, this game, I'm not so sure. Maybe you can look at Damian Harris if he's healthy in the mid-range there. Game script should favor him. Home favorite by a touchdown. Should see 20-plus touches, but he's a guy who he needs that 100-yard bonus and probably 2 touchdowns in order to hit that optimal ceiling. So he's really the only guy. I just think this is going to be a slow pace, run the ball, kill clock, low scoring game. So that makes me just have no interest whatsoever. When we just talked about like a KC Tennessee game where there's going to be a ton of points, like now it's this game where it's just like, I'm not going to get cute with this game. So I'm not going to overthink it.
No, I get it. I'm with you. This is like play the defense, Jacoby Myers, maybe cash games. He's got touchdown variance coming, so just wait on that, and that's pretty much it. Cincy at Baltimore, -6.5, 47.5 is the total. Not like Mark Andrews, Lamar Jackson. I like Rashad Bateman's at a really good price tag. On the Cincy side, you're going to have to dig into that more. I usually have more of a feel for Cincinnati, but I need to see where Chase's price is at. Chase looks like he's going to be low. Chase looks like he's going to be low owned at 6.2. That's interesting. What are your thoughts here, John?
Yeah, I'd kind of be surprised. That would definitely make me have some interest in Jamar Chase. I always have interest in the Cincy stacks, and that's the obvious stack is Burrow to Chase. Seems like they're connecting every single week. That chemistry is great. Chase is just a baller, and now we have a game script where they're likely going to be playing from behind. They're going to need to unleash Burrow. They need to stop with this like 25 passing attempts, 30 passing attempts. I want to see like a 50 passing attempt game from Joe Burrow where Jamar Chase is catching long bombs. You get Tyler Boyd involved. T. Higgins is there as well. I think this could be I don't want to say sneaky shootout because 46.5, like that's a healthy over under. It's not 50 plus like some of these other games, but it's okay. I'm hoping that it turns into more of a track meet than maybe that line would indicate.
Yeah, T. Higgins down at 4.9. He's going to be pretty popular. So Burrow stacks, I don't mind them. Definitely good. T. Higgins, Chase, Burrow. On the other side, run it back with Mark Andrews maybe. I really like Mark Andrews at this spot, 6K. Crushed Cincy in the past. Don't mind going to him. Lamar Jackson's popping. I think you can skinny stack Lamar, but he's kind of opened up like his repertoire as a passer, so I think you can add more to that stack. Bateman's down at 3.4, kind of playing the Watkins role. Don't mind him. Marquise Brown, he's leading the league in drops, but can always catch a long one, so don't mind him either. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Washington at Green Bay, -9.5. Green Bay is the favorite. 49 is the total. Davante Adams always in play for me. John, what are your thoughts here in this game?
Yeah, I have some interest here. Obviously, Davante Adams, dude's just a stud. Like for some of these superstars, like you don't need us to tell you to play them. Like Adams, the matchup doesn't matter, and this just so happens to be an excellent matchup for him. But the matchup never matters for the type of volume that he gets. The target share for Green Bay there, like Aaron Rodgers is always looking to him, and I think they're going to put up points here against Washington secondary, who I know we all kind of expected to be pretty decent, at least as a whole for their defense. And they're just not. Like they're one of the worst secondaries. They've been getting torched by almost every team they played. So I think Adams is an obvious target. I know he's going to be popular, but that's fine. I think Aaron Jones is a way to get a little bit different. They are a home favorite here. We've seen Jones in the past, pop off, have those 3 touchdown games. I think he had one of those this season early on, like week 2 or something. But I know he had a couple of those last season as well. Like he's a guy that has a ceiling. But I think those are really the two main guys on the Green Bay side for me. And then on Washington, you can always look at Terry McLaurin, run it back with him. Maybe J.D. McKissick, if the game script, maybe you think McKissick gets out there and catches a few balls if Washington's presumably trailing from behind. So I don't mind that. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple decent looks in this game, mainly on the Green Bay side, though, for me.
Yeah, McKissick to me, like, if I love McKissick in these spots with the game script like this. We've seen it before. Oh, we've seen it last week. Like, he was one of the higher scoring, low value running backs, so I don't mind him. McLaurin versus Green Bay, like, the secondary is not great. I like McLaurin in the spot. On the Green Bay side, hit on Adams. Don't mind Rodgers. Like, they're going to funnel the pass. Aaron Jones, I just don't get him right. And he goes missing at times in the game. They're working in A.J. Dillon. So, I don't know. I could play Aaron Jones, but I probably – I have to look more into it. Yeah, Robert Tonyan, like, really hasn't done much all season. This could be a get-right spot for him versus Washington. Maybe I'd have some interest there. But Mercedes Lewis is getting more snaps than what a fossil tight end should be getting at this point in his career. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Atlanta, -2.5. At Miami, 47.5 is the total. I think this is going to be one of the sneaker games for a lot of people. Miami playing a ton of cover one. So it really opens up the passing game and ceiling for a guy like Matt Ryan, even without the rushing equity. Guys like Calvin Ridley, we've seen Pitts go off the week previously. He could be incorporated. Cordero Patterson, everyone's favorite running back / receiver. I don't know what to do with him, to be perfectly honest. Like, he's 37.5. He on Prize Picks, I think the 37.5 was. I took the under on Prize Picks. I'm just fading like recency bias, but this is a great matchup versus Miami. So I don't know. Maybe that's not the best call. Yeah, Mike Davis. Like, is Mike Davis ever going to get going? This should be it. Like, I'd rather see a Mike Davis game than the Cordell Patterson game. On the Miami side, there isn't, like, I like Waddle. I don't want to play Tua. I think people are going to make the case for Tua. He's just pretty bad. Gesicki's going to be the chalk tight end. I don't mind some Gesicki. And that's pretty much it for me on this game. John, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, that you said you hit the under on Prize Picks, 37.5. Was that rushing or receiving? I'm assuming it was rushing.
It was rushing, yeah, which might have been
okay.
A bad take. The line on DK was like 35, so for the over, so I thought you were getting value on the under. JT took this on the Mayo show. JT took the over on the 37.5, so we were in opposition. But I just don't have a feel for Cordell, to be perfectly honest. Like, can he really do this on his snap count? Like, continue to do this? It's obviously a great spot, but.
So that's what I was going to say is, like, it's so hard to know how much volume he's going to have. Like, I mean, he's obviously productive with the volume that he gets, but it's like, on what was it, the London game? Like, I know Ridley was out, so that changed things, but like, it was like every time Atlanta moved the ball, like, they're handing it off to him, they're throwing it to him. Like, he's the only guy on the field. Like, the dude is just like, I'm like, this is unbelievable. And then of course you have Kyle Pitts, who's tilted everybody all season, and he finally goes off in the game where he's not on the main slate. So that's so fitting. But I think this is a good spot. You mentioned it. Miami is definitely going to give up points here, even against an offense that has been untrustworthy like Atlanta. I think you can look at Mike Davis. I think you can look at Cordero Patterson if you want to swing that route. Or swing that way in favor of him over Davis. I'm hoping that this is the Calvin Ridley spot, because I've been waiting for a Calvin Ridley eruption spot like all season now, and we just really haven't seen that ceiling performance from him, and I think it could be this week. So I like me some Ridley. On the Miami side, I get the Gesicki chalk, but I'd look to get away from him in tournaments, just because, tight end chalk like that, like, I know he's been seeing the volume, but like, it wouldn't shock me at all to see it go back to like what he was getting the first couple of weeks, where he goes like 4 for 40 with no touchdowns or something like that. Like, and if he's going to be super popular, I'd just rather look at somebody else. Even on the other side, maybe some Kyle Pitts. If he's not going to be as popular, I don't mind that at all. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a solid game. Both defenses are kind of suspect. And as much as I don't really like either offense, I think they're going to put up points. So it's just a matter of where those points are going to come from.
Yeah, Pitts does not look like he's going to be that popular, so I don't mind the Pitts call. Going up to 5.9, he's in like Andrew's salary range, so that's interesting. Philly -3 at Oakland, 48.5 is the total. This game is like both teams are playing super fast. I think Derek Carr looks like the median projection QB, so I usually just totally X that guy or just whoever the median is. Philly. Jalen Hurts, obviously the rushing equity's there. Miles Sanders, like, are they going to get him more incorporated into this offense? It seems like that's what they want to do, based on some coach speak and just that they haven't been playing him. Fans are clamoring to get him in the game, stuff like that. I still have a hard time rostering Miles Sanders. On the Oakland side, with Gruden gone, like it looked like they played a little faster last week. Don't mind Ruggs. Don't mind Waller. Just not going to have many car stacks. What are your thoughts here on this game?
Yeah, going back to the Sanders thing, like that's great that they're finally realizing that they should get one of their best skill players the ball more. But they're going to have to prove to me that they're actually going to do that.
I'm with you.
This has been a thing like forever with Miles Sanders in Philly where he deserves more touches. And for whatever reason, he just is not getting those touches. So even if they bump up his volume, like there's still like less than 10 touches, well within the range of outcomes here for Sanders. And if that's going to be like I'm going to play other running backs. Like that's fine. If Sanders burns me, that's great. I'm rooting for him, but I'm probably not going to put my hard American dollars on him this week. On the flip side, the rate on the Raiders side, I think Ruggs is always a look in tournaments just because he has that slate breaking potential. All he needs to do is catch like 2 long touchdown passes. That can happen against this Philly secondary. We've seen them give up big plays in bunches. And maybe on the flip side, maybe Devontae Smith or Jalen Reagor, one of those guys could pop off here. I kind of like this game. Like you mentioned, the Atlanta Miami might be everybody's sneaky shootout. Like if the Philly offense shows up and pushes the Raiders, we've seen the Raiders put up points when they need to. I think this one could be a sneaky shootout. It's just I gotta figure out where exactly I'm focusing on. I know I'd want some Ruggs exposure. Maybe Jalen Hurts skinny stack with Devontae and hope he catches a touchdown or two, something like that. But probably no Sanders for me.
Yeah, I'm with you. Jalen Hurts, Devontae, like that stack. I had a talk about Sanders yesterday, and I just didn't. I was like, maybe I shouldn't talk about Sanders, but just because of the 10 touches, like the range of outcomes, there's so much variance in what his workload might be. Yeah, on the other side, Ruggs, I think, is a good call as well. This game's going to be pace up. I don't know. It's a tough game for me to like really get a feel on for one that I think might be a little bit more chalky than it probably should be. Hunter Renfro's another guy, 3.5. It was popping a little bit. Detroit -16 at the Rams. Rams highest team total in the slate at 33 implied points. The actual total is 50. Like DeAndre Swift here, like all the Rams, Darrell Henderson, Cooper Kupp, all the regulars, Stafford, revenge. Stafford balling the fuck out, by the way. Just looks so good. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Hawkinson, I guess, would be someone who might be interesting, like run back on Detroit. Hasn't done fantastic, but maybe we could see him turning it around. John, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I think DeAndre Swift, I always have interest in. Like they've shown even when they're getting blown out, like they're just going to dump it off to DeAndre Swift a few times. And he's just such a stud, such a playmaker that he's going to make plays happen. So they're obviously big dogs here to one of the best offenses in the Rams. And on the Rams side, like the obvious plays, Cooper Kupp, you could go to Robert Woods if you want. I haven't played Robert Woods at all this season, but it seems like they're at least starting to get him more involved. And then Darrell Henderson, like the dude has honestly exceeded all my expectations. Like he's been very good this season. I don't see why you would need to look away from him here. a massive home favorite against one of the worst teams against the run. So I think Darrell Henderson, I'm expecting him to be popular, but that's chalk that I think is probably warranted. Gonna have to take a look at my super draft to see what his multiplier is, but I might have some Darrell Henderson chalk this week.
Yeah, I'm with you on Henderson. Like, he was my best ball call. I played a ton of him. I was drafting him prior to Akers. I thought there was significant leverage there. Akers was kind of the chalk that everyone was kind of going for, and I was like, that's best ball, anything can happen. Let me just start drafting Henderson. And he got hurt, and everyone pulled back on Henderson. It was like, wait till the fifth, or you're not getting the value. I'm like, I watched Henderson last year. Like, he's pretty good. Like, I didn't want to I didn't want to wait too much. I was drafting him a little bit higher than what the industry was. I like Henderson a ton. Cooper Kupp balling out, like, just it for me. I don't know if I'm like, if I had to pick between Adams and Kupp and cash this week, I'd probably pay for get up to Adams, even though you can definitely make the case for Kupp. The run back, DeAndre Swift. You don't usually want to play running back with a script like this, but I think DeAndre Swift is perfectly fine with his involvement in the passing game. He's a good running back, right? I think he's going to be relatively chalky, but it is what it is. If you wanted to pivot off your run back from DeAndre Swift, if you're stacking Rams, it's probably going to be a pretty popular stack. Like I said, don't hate TJ Hawkinson if he's back for sure. Yeah, he's back, but I just want to make sure. Yeah, that's pretty much it for this game. Next game, one of the games I really like, Bears at Bucks. What is the total? Let me see. I kind of lost
47.
Yeah, 47 Bucks, 13-point favorite. Fournette seems like someone who's going to be pretty popular. AB's been questionable. Got to wait on news there. Chicago funnels to the pass. Like Darnell Mooney on the Chicago side. Interesting to see like what the AB situation is. Brady always in play for me. John, what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I like the Darnell Mooney call. Like he's a deep ball guy. Justin Fields has shown that he's kind of his number one option. For whatever reason, it seems like he favors him more so than Allen Robinson. But it's just really tough for me to want to play these Chicago pass catchers just because Fields isn't getting the volume for these guys to hit their ceiling. So I'm not as interested. Like you would hope that he would have to against Tampa Bay. Like I really doubt what's his name, Herbert, is going to be able to run against this Tampa Bay defense. So maybe he airs it out more, but you know, until I see it, it's tough for me to believe it just because they've really kind of sheltered Fields to this point. And on the Tampa Bay side, like this offense, I'm just always like, I don't care how many lineups I'm running. I'm always getting exposure to your boy TB12, stacking him up with Evans, stacking him up with Godin, stacking him up with Antonio Brown. We saw them get the tight ends involved recently with OJ Howard having a big game the other night. Was it like 2 weeks ago, or maybe it was they were the Thursday game, right?
It happened recently. He had a big Thursday game,
Yeah, last Thursday. But yeah, I mean, I just think you should always get exposure to their offense, and especially on a slate like this where we know the Rams, who have like a 33 implied team total, like they're the highest on the slate. They're going to be popular. We know that KC Tennessee game is going to garner a ton of ownership. Are the Bucs going to be like that forgotten good team with a high team total? We saw the same exact thing happen when they played. Was it Miami when he threw for like 4 or 5 touchdowns? Was that the Miami game? They played somebody, and it was a similar setup where there were multiple other chalky teams, and Tampa Bay was in a good spot too, but people just didn't play them really because they just focused on the other games. So I think that could happen here, especially when we have another solid team like Arizona that we'll get to next game. So I plan to be overweight to this Tampa Bay offense.
Yeah, I think Chris Godwin's going to be, just for like his salary at 5'9", he runs that like low A-dot area. His like A-dot's low. Fournette is going to be pretty chalky just because of the script, and he's been utilized in the passing game. If AB sits or AB plays, I still like Godwin just because I think that he offers leverage at his salary off of guys like Fournette, running backs in the 6K range. Can see the workload, can get targeted a bunch. Doesn't matter. This Chicago team, basically, they're good against stopping the run. short area passing game will probably be a high priority for the Bucs this week. Don't mind Godwin at all. Could see him having a ceiling game at 5'9". It's my tournament call of the week.
I like it.
Yeah. What's the next game? Hold on. Houston and Arizona. Arizona minus 17. And oh, wow, that's a huge spread.
Yeah.
40. Bucs D should be in play with the minus 13 spread also. We should have hit on that. Houston, Arizona, minus 17. Arizona is the favorite. 47 is the team total. Is the total, not the team total. That would be a crazy team total. 32.5 is the team total. John, any thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I think Arizona is another high-powered offense here, one of the highest team totals on the slate, going up against one of the worst defenses. So it makes a ton of sense. I think Kyler Murray is a strong play. I think DeAndre Hopkins against his former team, we have a bit of a revenge narrative going on. I like that stack. But also, I think you can target the running backs here, whether you think it's Chase Edmonds who has a big game, or if you think James Conner, if they're playing with a big lead, maybe Conner finds the end zone twice and kills clock in the fourth quarter or whatever. Like, I don't hate that play. He's pretty affordable as well. And then on the Houston side, pretty much the only time I ever play anyone from Houston is just Brandon Cooks. And even then, like, I'm scared he's going to get concussed, or just, Mills is going to throw for like 120 yards and nobody gets there. So I would say Cooks on the Houston side, no interest anywhere else. And then on the Arizona side, I think there's quite a few pieces you can look to attack here.
Yeah, Arizona defense for me, and obviously Hopkins with this little revenge narrative. But Hopkins seems like a pretty vindictive guy. So
oh yeah,
I would not fade DeAndre Hopkins this week. Like the run back, Colin Cooks think he's definitely in play. You're right, like one hit and concussed, and it's over. Good night for Cooks. Jalen, whatever his name. What's his first name? The kid Mills. He throws for 120 yards.
David. I think David
Mills. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it's pretty much maybe, I don't know, Rondale, Christian Kirk. DeAndre Hopkins is my favorite play in this game. I also like Chase. Like, Chase gets it done regardless what the script is, so I don't mind Chase either if he's going to be lower owned. Kyler not running as much, but I don't know. He's in play also. They have 32.5 team total. He's probably going to be one of the lower owned QBs. Any thoughts on Kyler?
Yeah, I like him. I mentioned right off the hop here, I think he has always one of the highest QB ceilings on the slate. And if he's not going to be, I haven't looked at any ownership. So you said he's not going to be owned. That makes me have a ton of interest, because I would put him right up there with Lamar, right up there with Mahomes, right up there with Tom Brady, and right up there with Matthew Stafford as one of the best QB plays on the entire slate.
Yeah, with their team total, you got to imagine Kyler's going to be super involved in some sort, regardless of his injury. Like 4% ownership showing on RG right now, I'd totally play some Kyler. Love Kyler under 5%. Even I don't care about the shoulder. He's going to run eventually. Like, it is what it is. He could torch this defense. Houston sucks. Arizona D also in play. Kind of wraps it up for the show, guys. Glad to be back here with my guy, John. John, get home soon, bud. Get home soon. How's you want to let everyone know? John's overseas right now, so.
Yeah, temporarily. I'll be back soon, but excited to get back in the DraftKings streets the second I get home. So beware. You're fully warned, Bob. I'm coming for your neck when I get back. So,
nice.
But yeah, that was 10 fight. I'm used to MMA. 10 game slate for NFL, so it goes pretty quick. But I think we covered pretty much all the main angles here. Do us a favor, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as we try to grow Bob's channel. We definitely appreciate it. If you're listening on iTunes, leave us a 5-star review. This is Road to a Million. I'm Jon Kelly. That's Bobby Gomes, and we will see you guys next time.